Diigo is a web bookmarking tool that allows the user to annotate onto the websites that they're currently using. In addition to annotating the website, of course, you can bookmark any new websites that you encounter. So just to show you a little bit about the website, it's Diigo, D-I-I-G-O, and on the website it says it's a multi-tool for knowledge management, easy, versatile, and powerful. And I understand why it says knowledge management, because the information that you receive, you're able to manipulate it and do what you want to do in order for it to serve you in whatever purpose that it needs to. So these are some of the things you can do with it. Read more effectively with annotation tools. So it mentions on PCs, you can also use it on a mobile device. And as long as you have your email address, you're able to link the things that you tag and highlight from your computer onto your mobile device. Everything that you have on your PC or mobile device is stored in your library, kind of like a cloud. You can organize information. You can share the information with groups. I'll show you how you can create a group and share information. Provide feedback and catch attention. Share information as much or as little as you want. So those groups that you create can be private. It doesn't have to be shared. There's an option to share your new information, maybe things that you've highlighted on Facebook, Twitter, or email. You can keep it in your library. You don't have to share it if you don't want to. Here it just shows some of the companies that back Diigo. We have Forbes, of course, New York Times, PC World, different places. And just to find a little bit of information about who Diigo is as a company, go to About and just find out. So it's a company comprised of 12 people, and basically they're a group of people who wanted a tool to serve their own needs and found out a way for it to make it public. It was created in 2005, so it's 10 years old. And using this diagram here, we can see how it started only as an online bookmarking tool, and then it increases usability to highlighters and sticky notes, then added the grouping, collaborative part of it, and the personal learning network, so for you to share and discover other groups and different bookmarks or pages. And it can be accessed anywhere, as I mentioned, with your email address. It's in a cloud, collecting the things that you have, storing it, okay? And then it works for you. So whatever you need to accomplish, this is a knowledge management tool to help you do that. All right, so I'm going to show you my account. Okay, so I clicked on my library, and these are some things that I have highlighted and read through. So I can just click on maybe the ALA website to refresh myself, and it'll show us what I was reading through, and I actually clicked the link for this to be saved and read later. Now, when I began my account, I added Diigo to my bookmarking. So whenever I'm on a page that I'd like to use Diigo on, I will just click it, and it pops up here at the top of my screen. And I have the option to highlight. I can bookmark the website for later. I can add a sticky note. I can opt to read it later, and that's what I actually did for this page. I clicked read later, and that's why it's red. Or, like I said before, I can share it to Twitter, Facebook, email, and then this lets me go back to my home. Okay. So I'll show you how to use the tools on this page. Now, as you can see, this is not the most reader-friendly maybe article or passage to read, but it's a perfect example of how to use Diigo. So if I'm reading, so what is an adult learner? Much of the literature on adult learning indicates that teachers teach adults differently than pre-adults, and the most of the contrasts are associated with teachers' perceptions of learner characteristics. I'm being a good learner, note taker, annotator. I'm going to click Diigo and add it to this page. And I want to highlight some things. I can change the color if I want. So I want to highlight teach adults differently than pre-adults. Okay. Oh, that reminds me. I can make a sticky note. I can type anything that comes to mind. So maybe I have a question. How are adults taught differently? Okay, and this goes back to whether you want it to be private or public. So I can opt to have it private or public. It all depends on my account. My account is private for now, so it's only letting me have the option for private. So I'm going to post that, and it comes up here. So the next time I want to access this page in my library, it'll show, and I'll show you that in a second. So I can keep reading. Oh, I see this familiar thing from what we learned this week, learner characteristics. So I'm going to highlight that in yellow. Not going to take time to read this entire page now, so I actually want to bookmark this because this is a great website to learn about. Okay, I'm going to save my bookmark, and I'm actually going to click the read later so I can read this later. And I told you the little icon turns red, so it shows me that I have marked this to read later. Okay, we'll go back to my library. Oh, see? So the new page that I just found, okay, is here. And I clicked my Diigo again, and all of my annotations popped up. So my note that I took previously and my highlighting. All right. So the good thing about this website, of course, is the tools that you're able to use while you're reading, and that helps different types of learners. It'll allow the learner to differentiate what in the text is most important for them to remember. While they're reading, they can jot down important things that they think about so they don't forget their thoughts as they're reading. And especially for students who are embarking on our new assessment to assess the Common Core State Standards, the PARC. This is a huge part of the PARC. When students are annotating the text, they're highlighting, they're manipulating the mouse, they're clicking, they're dragging, and this, if a teacher wants to use in the classroom, would definitely give students that opportunity to work with the mouse and the tools in that aspect. And of course, typing gives students the opportunity to type as well. Okay, so I'm going to go to my PowerPoint to give you more information about Diigo. Okay, so Diigo is a bookmarking tool, as I mentioned before. Some of the curricular implications. So who can use Diigo? Teachers can use Diigo, students, administrative staff, anybody, because it is a tool for knowledge management, and anybody wants to be able to organize and manage the information that they're receiving. So it can be used for anybody. Some examples, I said, for teachers: annotating articles for personal growth, and for students, taking notes for research projects. So if they're on a page where they're gathering a lot of information, they can highlight, they can write in their sticky notes different questions that they may have, or just different reminders, maybe summaries of the information that they're gathering. And of course, there's so many more uses for Diigo. If we wanted to implement this in the school, the process for approval, school-based, would start with the principal. Many times before, I've come to my principal asking to use a new tool. And if she thinks that it's important and meaningful for the staff, then she would approve it. And next year, I'll be the school library media specialist. But I could partner or collaborate with the technology teacher who has experience with doing trainings and showing teachers how to use new technologies for their classrooms. So we could collaborate and develop a professional development for teachers, and of course introducing the tool, but also showing them why it's important to learn and how it can benefit their own instruction and of course student achievement in the classroom. So we would train the staff and show them how to use it, and of course not only show them but give them the opportunity to work with it while we're showing them, so they are able to use it outside of this professional development and their learning won't end there. And once the staff is comfortable with using the tool and actually have used it on their own, then they can decide how they want to implement it in their classroom. And I can see higher grades probably using this a little bit more just because of students' comfortability with computers and using the mouse and the different tools, and of course their reading levels. But it can be started in first and second grade, I think. Administrative implications. So the resource features definitely would aid students with special needs. They are able to read the text, highlight the important information. As you saw, they can add sticky notes to jot down their ideas. They can save the pages to be used for later. The only thing, probably just setting up the email address and adding Diigo to their bookmark. That's the probably only help that they would need, but I think it's easy for them to use, and they would see that it's helpful for them as they're reading new information and trying to understand and store it for later. And this does provide access for all. So this is a free tool for the users. There are premium packages that teachers can purchase separately if they want to, but the version that I just showed is free, and it allows up to 500 highlights and sticky notes. So within a given school year, I think maybe students and staff would be okay with 500 sticky notes and 500 highlights. However, if you reached your max, then you could always use another email address and set up a different account if you find that you reached your max. But if you like to explore the premium packages, I'm pretty sure that they are feasible and priced so it wouldn't be too much of a burden on the teacher. But I do believe that the free tool gets the job done. Students will need to use an email address in order to set up their account with Diigo, and this can be done with the school email address. So nothing personal. If the technology teacher or the school library media specialist wants to set up email addresses or already have set up email addresses for the students, they could definitely use those, and that way it would just link things together for them so they don't have many different sources of where their information is going.